So,
Thank you, Neil. Very good to be here, and of course, thanks to the organizers. Thanks everybody for staying so late in the day here. We are in early stage exploration play. We're looking for copper and gold in North America. This is a discovery story. That's what we're working on here. Many of you who have known us before, we've been working in Nunavut, our Aston Bay property, Storm and Seal. That's been our bread and butter for the past few years. It's a developing story. We drilled this summer. Also, over the past several months, I've been working on picking up another project. This is Don Taylor's privately held company, Jack's Fork Exploration, which has assets in Virginia, and we're very happy to bring that project on board and also to bring Don on our advisory board. It's a quick talk today, so we'll get right into it. Our share structure. We have about 117 million shares outstanding. Very strong institutional support, about 33% with the Commodity Discovery Fund out of the Netherlands, JP Morgan out of the UK, Mackenzie, that's Ono in Toronto, and also Sprott Asset Management out of Toronto. Management and insider, again, strong, 11%. I put $250,000 of my own money in this when I joined up. No shares given to me. I have skin in this game. We have about $1.3 million, probably a bit more than that right now. So we do have cash, and we're looking to put it to work. That is our business model. We raise money to spend it at the drill bit. That's what we want to do. So a bit about the team. Very tight little team here. There's actually only 2 full-time employees. Me, I'm the CEO. I'm a former chief geologist for North America for Antofagasta Minerals. That was a great job for me. I got to look around North America, see all the quality copper plays. 2 of them that I did look at have ended up in our stable here, and I'm very happy to have them. Also with us is Sophia Harquail, taking care of IR and Corp Dev. Everybody else is part-time. Mike Dufresne is our QP and general consulting geologist, and with Apex they run our actually day-to-day operations when we need them. That's a great, I like that business model. We can turn them on and off as needed, keeps our expenses down. Our 2 main advisors, the 2 big names for us, Dave Broughton and Don Taylor. You can talk about these guys. These guys are world-class, mine finders. Couldn't have 2 better guys to direct our exploration, and really that's what we're here to help facilitate their discovery. And we couldn't have them. We couldn't be more pleased to have them on board. I asked them both for a little note or one-liner on what they thought about the properties here, and this is what they gave me, or this is what I cut it down to. But let me just say that I sort of to summarize. Look, these guys see discovery potential in these properties. Up in Nunavut at our Aston Bay property, and in Virginia in these properties that we're acquiring right now. They're here to make a discovery, and that's why they're with us. So we'll just quickly go over the Aston Bay property. It's located in Nunavut. Really, this is an old Cominco property. The original drilling was done by Cominco. They had their Polaris mine running just north of us, about 200 kilometers to the north. It was a lead zinc mine, ran for about 20 years. Very important. It proves that you can mine up there year-round, ship seasonally, operationally. It works. What we have on Somerset Island is a very large land package. It's over 1 million acres. Again, being just south of Polaris, in the same correlative rocks, same age of mineralization. This is a regional fluid flow event that we think is happening here. This is elephant country, certainly for lead zinc, and we think for copper as well. The kind of copper mineralization we're looking for here is really sediment-hosted copper. You can think of it this kind of stuff they're finding in the Congo. That's what we're looking for here on the copper side, and of course for the zinc, Polaris or perhaps Kipushi-style copper. It's a very large claim block, over 140 kilometers strike length with mineralized showings at the surface, all up and down here. 2 main projects have been drilled by Cominco, Storm Copper, Seal Zinc. We'll just give you a quick taste of what those 2 properties are like. Cominco in the 90s, obviously they were a zinc company. They happened to find a large chalcocite boulder in a stream and followed it up and came across some zones like you see here. That black and green mineralization is essentially broken chalcocite mineralization at the surface, altered to malachite. These zones are a couple hundred meters long by tens of meters wide. There's 4 zones that we can see clearly at the surface. really spectacular mineralization, drilled by Cominco in some very shallow drilling. Again, confirming that there is some significant mineralization. You can see tens of meters of multiple percent copper. Obviously, we're in the Arctic. These are the kinds of intercepts you need to make it work up here. But really, it's not the main show. The kind of mineralization we're looking for here, sediment-hosted copper. The thesis there is that one of the layers of the sediment had potentially had mineralizing fluids flush through and are now mineralized with copper or zinc. What we think we're seeing here, well, the problem with that, with where we are here on Somerset Island, is that the stratigraphy, the sediments are all very flat-lying. So if there is a mineralized body at depth, if it's not at the surface right now, you can't see it, right? But what you can see is the plumbing system, and that's what we think we are seeing here with this drilling and the surface showings. It is really the same mineralizing fluids that were in the faults that were the plumbing system for a potential ore body at depth. They've been mineralized, and that's really what we're seeing: fractures, faults, mineralized at the surface. Not the main show, but certainly an indication of a very robust ore forming system. You can see these grades, this kind of chalcocite at the surface. You don't see this in many places in the world. So really what we're doing, what we've been doing and what Dave Broughton has been doing with the targeting here, the idea is we're trying to figure out, using our geologic and geophysical database, is, well, how do you find these things that are at depth? What's the signature? Drill those signatures, figure out which ones work. It rarely works on the first shot, but when you can figure out how copper is represented in the subsurface, then we can go find more of it, prove it up, get something bigger that we can hopefully turn into a mine someday, or have somebody else turn into a mine someday. We did drill this summer. We originally we planned to drill between 4,000 meters and 6,000 meters. Unfortunately, and you might not believe this, considering the weather in the rest of North America, it was actually the coldest summer in memory for the people in Resolute Bay. We're actually 2.5 degrees below the average temperature up there, and that really created a significant bottleneck in our supply lines for keeping us supplied on Somerset Island. So we didn't quite get as many meters as we drilled as we'd wanted. We drilled just over 3,500 meters, but still, we did send samples, I can tell you right now, off for assay, and those results are pending, and we really look forward to giving you those results soon. We expect them in the next month or so. Apparently the labs are really stuffed up this year. All the geologists and all the CEOs are complaining. Our zinc property, similar thing. Again, zinc mineralization, sphalerite at the surface. In this case, we do actually see the sedimentary layers here at the edge of the island, where we do have some of the stratigraphy is tilted up on edge and fault repeated. And again, this was drilled by Cominco fairly shallowly, but in the last year, we did do a 43-101 resource using that historic those historic drill results, and just to give people an idea for the kind of deposit that you could potentially find up here. Obviously, we knew it wasn't going to be big, and it turned out to be just over 1 million tons. But the important thing to note here, it's over 10% zinc, plus probably plus about 1.5 ounces of silver. We're getting close to those Polaris grades. Polaris was about 21 million tons at about just over 13% zinc, plus some lead credits. Again, indication of a very robust ore forming system for zinc over here at Storm. Again, this is just what's sticking out of the ground and what's sitting in the shallow subsurface. We think that there's more to be found here, either in the fault repeats or along strike or at depth. Again, we did drill, this summer, and we did send samples off for assay, and we again look forward to presenting those results soon. The Blue Ridge Project. This is what we are calling our acquisition for Don Taylor's Jack's Fork exploration. This is in Virginia. For those of you who don't know Don Taylor, he's a former he was CEO and COO of Arizona Mining, the discoverer of the Taylor deposit there, a fantastic zinc story, and a great story for the shareholders. That was recently taken out by South 32. Again, we love Virginia. It has a really fantastic geologic potential. the area we're looking at. It's essentially a base metal and precious metal mineralized, mostly as sedimentary and some volcanic belt. It's metamorphosed. This is the Appalachians. But it really has some great potential for SED-hosted type of copper, zinc mineralization, SEDX, Broken Hill type. And on the precious metal side, look, we're sandwiched right between the Carolina Slate Belt, that's produced this, in recent mines like Hale down in South Carolina, and then in the Avalon Belt that runs up into the Maritimes here. So we think we have a great precious metal potential here as well. We put up just one example of some of the historic base metal hits here. Look, with this acquisition, we're in the process of completing the acquisition. When that process is closed, we'll be signing some land agreements, and then we'll be able to give you a bit more data. Like I say, this is a developing story here. We don't want to tip our hand here what we're looking at yet, but as soon as we get this stuff closed, we'll be able to give you a bit more information. But you can just see here from just one result that's very easy to find on the internet. Great copper grades, some good zinc, we think, and even better if you dig a bit deeper out there. So we're really happy to be exploring in this belt, and we think it really has some fantastic potential for both base metals and precious metals. So what are we actually buying here with this acquisition with the Blue Ridge project? What we're really buying here is a large database that Don Taylor has amassed over probably 3 decades. He's been working here since the 90s with BHP, and then with his privately held company, Jack's Fork Exploration, since 2008. It's a big, we have an over 1 million acre airborne EM survey and regional stream sediment survey, a significant drill hole database. Essentially what we're bringing also is Don's expertise, certainly his respectability that comes with having Don associated with you, and his relationships. This is all critical. We're going to be signing land agreements here on private land. That is our expectations. We're essentially looking at timber farms here. These are groups that understand the resource business. And being private land and being in Virginia, Virginia is a fee simple jurisdiction. That is a great advantage. That means that essentially if you have an agreement with the landowner, you're free and clear to go and explore, drill, at will, next day. And that advantage to act quickly and is absolutely critical to us to get acting and to make it towards making a discovery. So where are we now? Great news flow coming up. Obviously, with having a project in Virginia, we can work it year-round. But in the near term, we'll be having our results come out from our summer drill program and looking very forward to releasing those. For the Blue Ridge project, we'll be closing that acquisition, signing some land deals, getting some more information out on the specifics of the actual projects, and then we hope to get targeting and drilling, in the very near future. Obviously, Don's been chewing on this one for 10 years, and having Don join us on our advisory board and direct the exploration between Dave and Don. Look, I think we got 2 thoroughbreds in the stable here, and it's really our business just to let them run, and so that's where we are right now. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. Any questions? Apart from where's the beer? Mary?
Mary?
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
Can you hear me? I'm actually a Jack's Fork shareholder.
Okay.
There's only a handful of us, I know, but I am. So I'm very curious as to what's the cash position. You may have had it up there, but I missed it. And how do you see this comparing with other prospects that are similar within the belt within Virginia and the Carolinas?
Sure. Well, our cash position, we have 1.3 million easy right now, so that's for us, that's actually quite a bit of money. And as I said, our business model is to spend that in drilling. We're not, it's not a little kitty for us to pay salaries for the next 2-3 years. This is going to go into the ground, and sooner the better. In terms of other projects. Obviously, on the precious metal side, the Hale gold deposit is a good example, or a great example of a success story, and be certainly happy to replicate that success. On the base metal side, there's several deposits further south, into the Carolinas. To be honest, I don't think they are really exactly what we're looking at here. I'm privileged enough to actually see. I've seen the database, and I can tell you the kind of deposits I think that we're going to be looking for here are more on that. I think they're more actually SED-hosted to SEDX style, and so obviously they have big, good grade potential and size potential. The problem we have is that we are looking through, first of all, a very thick saprolite cover, which is very difficult, to see through, in your exploration. Lucky enough, we have that big geophysical survey, and that's the stream sediment survey. And so to see through first of all, we have to see through that soil cover, and of course, this is the metamorphosed belt, and that adds another layer of to obscure what you're seeing here. But I think we're seeing more of the sedimentary-hosted style mineralization rather than some of the more massive sulfide stuff that you see further to the south. But I think the potential is even better for that. I think it has potential to have larger and high-grade discoveries, and I think Don's on board with that. Of course, we're both geologists, so we'll never agree about anything, but of course, we're bringing Dave Broughton in as well, so it's just going to get worse, but together, we're all on board. We think that this is a great spot for discovery, and we're looking forward to doing some drilling here.
Thank you. Excellent. Your